So in our region of the Gulf in Houston, Texas, there's a lot of different music styles out there. There's country music, there's blues, there's jazz, there's a rich heritage of folk. But we also have, the closer you get to the water, the more Cajun influences come out and the more Caribbean influences come out. So Zydeco music, reggae, soca, things like that. But then also being so close to Mexico, we also have Tejano music.
Cumbia.
Being on the Gulf, we also, and cumbia music. We also, from being on the Gulf, we also have salsa music coming in. And when we were forming our sound, we didn't really think of these musics as not being soul music. So we called it Gulf Coast Soul because it kind of encapsulates a lot more than just the traditional definition of soul music. And we've kind of taken a modern spin on that and also added things like chop and screw and dirty South hip hop in there too. This is a modern take on soul music, of what's happening in music today in the Gulf region.
Yeah, when we were approached to work with like Bun B and stuff like that, all the Houston rappers, that was like something we could not say no to.
Definitely not.
It was pretty much a dream for everybody too, right?
And a lot of that music, especially in Dirty South music, they're sampling old funk and soul records. Mm-hmm. So to have us do it, that was kind of like, it was really a big honor because now we're going to play those samples. It's going to be done with a live band, the way it was kind of done originally on the recordings. And that was huge for us, and we're big fans of that kind of music too. So it was a dream come true. It was an instant yes.
For everybody.
Instant.
Like, what do we have to do to make this work? What can we do? Yeah, it was awesome.
We decided to do crowdfunding for our next record, or for our debut record, because it gave us some freedom, as opposed to other ways of funding a record. By pre-selling the record, we can get that money up front instead of having that big hit of marketing, production, manufacturing, advertising, promo, all that stuff all at once before we've ever sold a record. So by getting that money up front, it kind of takes the burden off of us for getting that money so quickly. It also gives us a little bit more freedom in time schedules and when we can put things out, artwork. We're not beholden to anybody on what we can and can't put out and when we can put it out. So we leverage the support and the love of our fans, and they've really come through. We're pre-selling it right now still, and it's still going strong, and we have really wonderful fans. Well, the majority of the record was recorded at a place called Church House Studios in Austin, Texas. Before we recorded there, we had done some other sessions in Houston at a place called Wire Road. When we toured Church House in Austin, it's actually built into an old church house. So it's the live room is the old chapel, I guess, and then the recording desk is up in like where the preacher lived or something like that in the past. But when we walked in, there was a great vibe, a great soul, a great energy. They had the space and they had the setup so that we could all record at once. We're used to jamming together. That's how we write. So if we could all be in the same room at the same time looking at each other, it was really nice. And the place, you could open up the windows. The acoustics were such that it didn't have to be so tight and confined and glass and rigid. You could open the windows, you can get natural light in there. You could just hang out and jam, and that really worked for us. There was a kitchen out back and a big backyard. We could hang out. It was really comfortable.
Yeah, it was awesome. Then there's always something, like why people like to go to live shows, because there's always something that happens with that chemistry when you have everybody together. And fortunately, I'm the percussionist, right? There's a few songs where I have to take solos, and when I'm feeding off of them, I play way better. And if you listen to the album, most of those tracks are either one take or two takes, and that's it. Like, that's what you're getting. If anything, we went to go add a little bit of vocals, but they're really raw tracks, and that's why the way we sound on the album is pretty much the way we sound live. Yeah.
Vocals were actually done in a closet at the same time, so we were hearing the vocals, and almost all of those made it onto the final tracks. Almost everything you hear is as it was. Some harmonies and a couple of other overdubs were done, but not much. For the most part, almost everything, all 10 of us are playing the whole time. That's what ends up on the recording.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like it happens with anybody. Like, I could go in there and I just start playing, and then somebody gets into the groove, right? I'm doing some little beat in the percussion, and then, for example, he comes in with the bass line, and from there, and then, somebody says, record it. We get our phone out, just start recording that thing, and then a week passes, a month passes, and then we go back to this, and we're like, oh, man, this was cool, and then it turns it out into a song. And it happens with everybody. He might play like just a little lick, a bass line. Somebody might play guitar. Somebody has a few chord changes that they want to work out or something. And that's what's awesome about this band. Everybody really does have input, and we are like, nothing will happen if I wasn't working with him. Without his creativity and without him just being able to do something, and without us being being in a room, like I don't think we would have all of this, none of this. I would like to say it's magic what happens.
Magic.
It's magical.
Oh. It was really neat because it was right on the water on the Potomac, and then you're right in the shadow of the Washington Memorial. The monument.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So I mean, it's right there the whole time. It was a huge crowd. We were played relatively early in the day, I think 11:30, something like that. But sometimes those are kind of hit or miss when you play that early. But we had a huge full tent of people.
Our tent was full.
Yeah. It was outdoor. It was covered though, but it was really neat. The sound crew was top notch. They were really, really good actually. But it was a great festival. I mean, that was the night of the blood moon, supermoon. So that was kind of up the whole time, eclipsing and.
Well, it was kind of cloudy throughout the whole day, we were like, oh man, we hope the clouds clear. And right before the festival ended, and the headliner act went up, the clouds cleared, and it was just beautiful. It was
great
awesome.
Crowd, really great crowd. They're really into it. They were dancing, they were screaming. It was really a fun festival. I think no matter where you're from, even if you're from a bigger music town, it's crucial to get out of your market. I mean, do well in your market, of course, build your fan base and do your homework, but it's crucial to get out there and just play to other people. Get yourself exposed. I mean, just playing a few shows across the country is going to do so much for your career. It exposes you to so many more people. It exposes you to other bands that you then have a network of people you can work with across the country. And everywhere we roll, we end up meeting friends and people we knew from other tours and stuff like that. It's crucial to get out there and actually put yourself in front of new people, not just the same crowd you're always working.
Yeah, that for sure, putting yourself out there. And I think one of the biggest things is developing a team, having a team with people who you trust. And for example, we have people that work in marketing, and they're so good at doing social media kind of stuff. And for you need to have a person that you can depend on and who you can trust doing that, and know that they are better, obviously, than what you do. Like they always say, two heads are better than one. We're fortunate to have 13, 14 heads working.
Sure. Yeah. Knowing your strength is definitely...
Knowing your strength and knowing other people's strengths and accepting that.
And sometimes you can't do everything. Sometimes...
Sometimes
you're not a good graphic designer and you can't make a flyer very well. You can try to hand draw something, but it's not going to benefit you overall. Sometimes it is worth finding somebody else who can do that for you. We like to link songs together into kind of suites. And that comes from watching old blues bands and old jazz bands and even old reggae bands. A lot of times when you watch them, there were segues between songs. You had to keep the dance going. So to keep the dance going, the songs run song to song to song to song. That way people don't have a chance to stop dancing and get off the dance floor. If you keep them there, you keep the music going, they'll stay there. We've kind of taken that. That's kind of a Gulf Coast, Western swing kind of thing. If you keep the music going, people keep dancing. So we try to bring that to our live show. Yeah. And, sometimes you realize, dang, they've been playing 30 minutes straight and there's no stop, And that's kind of if you're in the crowd, I've seen bands do it, and it's a powerful thing when that happens, and you realize, oh my God, they just played an hour and I don't think they took one breath. That's a really neat thing. It keeps the energy up.
This is Grammy Pro, and we are the Suffers.